Isaac Alder didn't remember the crash. One moment he was cutting through the upper thermosphere in a standard repair pod. The next, the stars spun sideways and something slammed into him with the force of a freight train. Then nothing. He came to with his face pressed against a strange, slick surface. The air smelled faintly metallic and the light above him pulsed a soft yellow. His head throbbed. His ribs ached. His left leg was pinned under something weighty and unyielding. He groaned. Movement. A shadow passed over him. Then a voice, smooth and deliberate. You are conscious. Remain stationary. You have sustained multiple injuries. Isaac blinked. The shape above him was not human. Slender arms, elongated neck, skin like polished slate. The eyes were too large. Too still. Where am I? You are aboard vessel Tavares Unit 12. You were retrieved from orbital debris field near Sol 3. The alien replied. Words clipped, but understandable. You are injured. Yeah, I gathered. Isaac muttered, then winced. Talking hurt. Breathing hurt. Everything hurt. The alien, he assumed it was male by the tone, moved to a wall panel and pressed something. A humming sound filled the room. A low vibration passed through Isaac's spine. What's that? Vital scan. We are analyzing your biological functions. Great. Let me guess. I'm a mess. There was a pause. Then the alien said, You have 3 fractured ribs, 1 collapsed lung, and a compound fracture on your lower left leg. Internal bleeding is minimal. However, organic functions are unstable. Isaac let out a ragged breath. So, you're saying I'm lucky. Statistically, survival in your condition is unlikely. Isaac coughed, then smiled faintly despite the pain. Well, I'm too stubborn to die. The alien tilted his head. Explain. It's an expression, Isaac murmured. Means I'm not giving up, even if I probably should. The alien made no comment. He turned and retrieved a rectangular device from the wall. A soft blue light began to glow at the end of it. I will administer pain suppression and stabilize your vitals. Surgery is not possible aboard this unit. We are not equipped for invasive procedures. Wonderful, Isaac said, eyes fluttering shut as the light passed over his chest. No scalpels near the spleen. That's a plus. The device hummed. A cool sensation spread through his torso. The sharpest edges of pain dulled. He didn't feel good, but he no longer felt like he was actively dying. What's your name? He asked, voice hoarse. I am called Nezhar. Well, Nezhar, Isaac said, thanks for fishing me out of space. You were emitting a distress beacon. It was protocol. Isaac chuckled weakly. Right. Protocol. Nezhar studied him for a long moment. Your biological readings are inconsistent. Welcome to being human. I do not understand. Your cardiovascular function is elevated, yet your neural activity indicates exhaustion. Your respiratory output is irregular. Isaac forced a grin. Yeah, that's basically what it feels like to live through a crash and wake up in an alien sickbay. Nezhar turned back to his console. I will monitor you continuously. Do not attempt to move. Your leg is unstable. No arguments here. Time passed in a haze. Isaac drifted in and out, conscious enough to register Nezhar's occasional adjustments to the equipment, but too weak to ask questions. The pain suppression held, but just barely. At some point hours later, maybe more, a new voice entered the room. Firmer. Measured. Report. Nezhar turned. The subject remains alive. He has not stabilized. Vital signs fluctuate unpredictably. He should not have survived the impact. He claims he is too stubborn to die. There was a pause. That is not a measurable trait. Isaac forced his eyes open. Hey, he rasped. Still here, guys. The second alien stepped closer. Taller than Nezhar. Darker skin, almost obsidian. Eyes like polished lenses. You are Isaac Alder. Guilty. I am Commander Varsis. I must understand how you remain functional in your condition. Your physiology contradicts our data. Maybe your data's out of date. Varsis stared at him. Explain your resilience. I wish I could. Don't quit. That is not a biological function. No, it's a human thing. Nezhar interjected. He continues to exhibit willful resistance to trauma. Varsis nodded slowly. Curious. Over the next 2 days, Isaac was monitored constantly. His lung partially re-inflated with the help of non-invasive atmospheric modulation. His ribs, tightly wrapped by an external brace, made every breath a conscious effort. His leg remained untouched, aside from a temporary splint. He didn't sleep well. The room was too quiet. The lights never dimmed. Nezhar remained nearby at all times, recording fluctuations in Isaac's vitals, occasionally muttering data into a translator device. On the third day, Isaac asked, "Any chance of getting home?" Varsis returned with a long pause. "We are not authorized to enter Sol 3 orbit." "So what? You're just going to keep me here? You are injured. You will not survive re-entry." Isaac grimaced. "Then fix me. You require specialized care not available aboard this vessel. Then take me somewhere that has it." Another pause. Nezhar spoke this time. "Our nearest medical facility is 12 standard cycles away. You may not survive the journey." Isaac looked at him. "I'll make it." "You cannot guarantee that." "I don't have to. You just have to try." Varsis studied him. "You remain confident despite multiple system failures." Isaac's voice cracked. "Honestly, I'm terrified. But lying here waiting to die isn't my style." Varsis turned to Nezhar. "Prepare long-range transport. Stabilize him as much as possible. We will reroute." Nezhar hesitated. "He may not survive atmospheric fluctuations." Isaac groaned, lifting his head slightly. "Hey, I'm right here." Still stubborn. The transport was a cramped chamber with a semi-liquid stasis gel. They lowered him in carefully, wrapping his leg with a reinforced brace. The gel stung, then numbed. Breathing became shallow but manageable. As the chamber sealed, Isaac gave Nezhar a weak thumbs up. "See you on the other side." 12 days blurred into a mix of dreams and pain. The stasis gel kept his vitals within tolerances, but his mind remained active. He saw flashes of Earth. His sister's laugh. The wrench he dropped 5 minutes before the crash. A sunrise viewed from low orbit. When they pulled him out, his skin was pale, lips dry, eyes red. But he was breathing. The facility was colder, cleaner, more advanced. The medics still alien, but different from Nezhar's species, worked quickly, scanning, assessing, speaking in clipped bursts. His leg was their first priority. The fracture was severe, and he'd lost significant muscle tone. They performed surgery within the hour. Metal pins, bone grafts, a long process. Isaac came to in a recovery pod, weak but alive. Nezhar stood nearby, arms folded. "You survived. Told you." "You continue to defy logical statistics." Isaac grinned faintly. "Maybe your logic needs more human data." Nezhar stepped closer. "Your condition remains critical. Healing will take time." "I've got time." "Your leg will require rehabilitation. Your lung has not fully recovered." Isaac coughed. "Still breathing." "That counts." Varsis entered then. "Your species is inefficient in recovery, but persistent." Isaac nodded. "We're stubborn." Varsis regarded him. "We will continue observation. Your resilience is instructive." "Glad to be educational." Over the next month, Isaac underwent therapy. Painful, exhausting sessions designed to rebuild muscle, restore balance, and prevent collapse. Nezhar never left his side. He documented everything, noticed every tremor, every grimace. One day, as Isaac struggled to lift himself from the therapy table, he collapsed halfway. The medic reached for him, but Isaac waved them off. "Don't touch me, I got this." "You are not ready," Nezhar said. "I don't care. I'm walking out of here upright." "You cannot." Isaac gritted his teeth and pushed again, sweat pouring down his face. His legs shook violently. Then he stood barely, for 3 seconds, then collapsed again. But he laughed. "You see that? 3 seconds." Nezhar tilted his head. "You celebrate failure. I celebrate progress." Weeks passed. He walked again slowly, with a brace. He breathed easier. His ribs still ached, especially in the cold, but he could laugh without gasping. Varsis observed once as Isaac paced the corridor, limping but mobile. "You were correct," Varsis said. "You did survive." Isaac leaned against the wall, wiping sweat from his eyes. "Told you. Too damn stubborn to die." Varsis nodded once. "Perhaps that is more than an expression." Isaac smiled, chest heaving. "For us, it always has been." The first time Isaac stood without support, his legs trembled like scaffolding in a windstorm. The brace dug into his thigh, and his hands gripped the side rail until his knuckles went white. Nezhar didn't offer assistance. He simply observed, recording silently into a slate that glowed with shifting symbols. "I'm gonna fall," Isaac muttered. "You are already unstable." Reassuring. Isaac took one step, then another. The third turned into a half lurch, and he caught himself on the wall. His breath came in short bursts. Do not proceed further. Your balance threshold is compromised. Isaac leaned his forehead against the wall panel. I need to push it. If I don't push, I plateau. You are not plateauing. You are deteriorating through exertion. Same thing on the inside. Nezhar paused. That is not accurate. Isaac pushed off the wall, turned, and sank slowly onto the bench. I know. The chamber wasn't designed for rehabilitation. The floor sloped gently, and the lighting was too clinical, casting everything in a bluish hue that made his skin look waxy. A circular panel on the ceiling adjusted the atmosphere, but it always felt too dry in his throat. Every cough came with a sting. You have not consumed nutrient fluid today, Nezhar said. Because it tastes like the inside of a battery, Isaac replied. It is optimized for cellular repair. I'd rather eat a sock. Is that a food source? No. It's a desperate metaphor. Nezhar didn't laugh, but his head tilted the way it always did when he tried to process humor. You consistently reject optimal intake. Why? Because I'm still human. And humans don't like drinking metal-flavored pudding 3 times a day. Nezhar turned to the wall and tapped a sequence into the console. I will request composition modification. Flavor is a redundant parameter, but if it increases compliance, it is statistically advantageous. Isaac blinked. You're going to make it taste like something? I will attempt an equivalence. You mentioned peach as preferable. Now we're talking. Nezhar didn't respond. The panel dimmed slightly as a new batch of nutrient gel synthesized in a tall, narrow container. I still hate the texture, Isaac muttered, taking a sip. But hey, progress. Later that cycle, around the equivalent of early evening, Varsis entered without announcement. His uniform looked the same as always, dark, angular, no visible seams. He stood at the entrance, watching Isaac attempt a seated leg raise. Your recovery is inefficient. Nice to see you too. You expend significant energy for minimal gain. Isaac gritted his teeth, raised his injured leg another inch, and dropped it. Yeah, but I'm not dead, so that's a win. Varsis approached, his eyes scanning the readouts above Isaac's head. You have been subjected to prolonged physical stress and non-standard sustenance. Yet you continue to regenerate. Because I have a deadline. For what? I want to stand on Earth again, not be wheeled off a ship like luggage. Varsis considered that. Your determination is not biologically programmed. It is not instinctual. No, it's personal. Nezhar stepped aside, allowing Varsis access to the data. Their language exchanged in low, layered tones, but Isaac caught fragments from the translator phrases like anomalous drive persistence and neurological override of pain inhibition. You think I'm abnormal, Isaac said. You are divergent, Varsis replied. But not defective. Thanks for the backhanded compliment. My hand did not touch you. Isaac laughed once, then winced. Don't worry. That was a joke. Varsis looked over at Nezhar. Continue extraction of behavioral patterns. I want predictive models by next cycle. You're making a profile? We are attempting to quantify your survivability. It has implications. Isaac set the nutrient container aside. Implications for what? Varsis didn't answer. He turned and left. Isaac looked at Nezhar. He always liked that. Directness is a cultural constant in his caste. Figures. The next morning, Nezhar returned with a new device, a long metal rod with spherical sensors at both ends. He set it on the bench beside Isaac. This is a balance regulator. It will assist with your gait training. Isaac raised an eyebrow. You built me a walking stick? It dynamically adjusts resistance and provides corrective feedback. It is not primitive. Looks like a fancy cane. It is not a cane. Isaac picked it up and tested the weight. It was lighter than expected. When he leaned on it, it hummed softly, then adjusted length to match his height. Well, he said, not bad for alien craftsmanship. He took 5 full steps that day, unassisted, before collapsing onto the med table with a breathless curse. The rod retracted and rolled to a stop beside him. Nezhar retrieved it. You are exceeding safe output thresholds. Then raised the threshold. Nezhar paused. There is a limit to adaptation. Not for me. 3 cycles later, the internal transport ring malfunctioned during Isaac's scheduled scan. He was forced to walk the corridor instead of riding a gurney. The distance wasn't long, but halfway there, he had to stop and lean against a coolant conduit. You require assistance, Nezhar said from behind. Nope, just catching my breath. You are pale. Paler than usual? Yes. Then it's working. Nezhar didn't move. You are willfully denying failure. It's not denial. It's defiance. Isaac pushed off the wall and kept moving. The scanner room was colder than the corridor. He lay down, shivering slightly as the platform rose into place. The scan took 7 minutes. No sound. Just pulses of light that passed over his ribs, leg, spine. When it ended, Nezhar helped him sit up. You have microfissures in your tibia. The graft is under strain. Because I'm walking on it. That is a causal factor. Then reinforce it. Nezhar looked at him. That is not standard protocol. Neither is surviving that crash, but here we are. That evening, back in the recovery chamber, a second alien joined them, smaller than the others, with skin like patterned glass and voice that flickered in pitch. She introduced herself as Liason, a biomechanical specialist. You are the human subject, she said, scanning him. Guilty again. You stressed your frame beyond recovery parameters. Still vertical. You have stress fractures forming along the femur. Then patch them. Liason turned to Nezhar. We could initiate calcification acceleration, but the metabolic toll would be severe. Isaac raised a hand. Try it. You do not comprehend the risks. I don't care. Liason and Nezhar exchanged a rapid stream of clicks and tones. Then Liason stepped forward and placed a small band across Isaac's leg like a flexible ring, but with embedded filaments. This will stimulate targeted ossification. The process will be painful. Isaac looked at her. I've been in pain since the crash. Do it. The device activated. Heat spread through his leg, then a deep internal ache, like his bone was expanding inside itself. He clenched his jaw, fists tight in his lap. Sweat formed at his temples. Nezhar monitored the readings. Liason stood silent, watching for signs of distress. Isaac didn't cry out. But when it was over, his shirt clung to his back and his breath came in shallow gulps. You tolerated the full cycle, Liason said. Isaac wiped his face. Because I had to. She tilted her head. Why? Because I want to walk unassisted by the time I see Earth again. Nezhar spoke quietly. You may not return soon. I will eventually. Liason considered that. You are anomalous. Isaac stood slowly, relying on the rod only briefly. No, I'm just human. Liason nodded once, then exited. That night, Isaac slept for the first time in days without waking from pain. When he opened his eyes, Nezhar was adjusting the room's temperature. I didn't know you could do that, Isaac said. You were shivering during sleep cycles. Thanks. Nezhar turned. You will attempt full mobility today. Isaac nodded. Damn right I will. He stood. No cane. No brace. Just his own 2 feet. And pain still there, always humming beneath the skin. But manageable. He took 10 steps across the chamber. Nezhar watched. You remain upright. No instability. Feels like I'm walking on rusted nails. But you are walking. Isaac smiled, breath steady. Told you. Too stubborn to stop now. Isaac adjusted the sling bag on his shoulder, wincing as the strap pressed awkwardly against the side of his neck. The fabric they'd given him didn't breathe, while too synthetic, and it clung to his back like wet plastic. He'd insisted on wearing something with sleeves, even if it wasn't necessary. He hated feeling like a patient. Nezhar walked beside him, carrying a scanning module the size of a loaf of bread. It pulsed quietly with subtle light every few seconds. Your stride is uneven. Left side lags by 0.6 seconds. Yeah, well, my left leg had a date with a hull breach and lost. There is measurable compensation in your hip rotation. You may develop spinal strain if the deviation persists. I figured. I'll stretch it out. Nezhar didn't look convinced. The corridor curved gently ahead, lit by panels embedded between the seams of the walls. No shadows, no sharp corners, just soft uniformity like the inside of a high-end appliance. Isaac hated how clean everything was. Where are we going again? He asked. Observation deck. You requested planetary visibility. Isaac nodded. Right. I haven't seen Earth in. Actually, I don't know how long it's been. 36 soul cycles since retrieval. Over a month, Isaac muttered. Feels longer. The deck was empty when they arrived. A wide, concave window spanned one entire wall, edged by a narrow rail. Beyond it, Earth rotated in silence fast, blue, swirled with weather. A thin crescent of light delineated night from day. The sight stopped Isaac mid-step. Still there, he said softly. It has not moved, Nezhar replied. Isaac stepped closer to the window. That's kind of the point. He stood there for a while, hands on the rail, watching the planet turn. Neither spoke. The quiet wasn't uncomfortable, just present. Eventually, Nezhar tapped the scanner again. Your resting heart rate is elevated. I'm home. Sort of. You are not on Sol 3. Isaac let out a breath. Close enough. After a while, he lowered himself onto the bench by the wall. It took more effort than he wanted to admit. His legs still refused to cooperate fully, and the seat was lower than he liked. You said something earlier, he said. About spinal strain. Yes. Is it fixable? Through monitored therapy and mechanical support, yes. But not here. No. This vessel does not house full orthopedic intervention systems. So, I'll need another trip. Correct. Isaac leaned back. How many more? 2. Possibly 3. He stared at the ceiling for a few seconds. That's what recovery really is, huh? One fix at a time. Nothing flashy. Nezhar tilted his head. Was that your expectation? I don't know what I expected. Maybe something faster. More dramatic. Like I'd get zapped with a beam and walk away. We do not possess regenerative beams. Yeah, figure that out. Isaac rubbed his eyes, then looked out the window again. A thin line of satellites traced the curve of the planet like pearls on a string. Do you know what I was doing before the crash? No, it wasn't heroic. I was replacing a sensor array on a relay pod. Not glamorous. Just maintenance. You were outside your habitat. That incurs risk. I got distracted. Dropped a tool. Reached for it. That's when the debris hit. Nezhar didn't respond. I keep wondering if I could have just let it fall. Maybe I'd still be up there, griping about losing another socket wrench. Then you would not have met us. Isaac looked at him. You think this was worth it? Nezhar didn't answer right away. You have provided significant data. Your recovery patterns are outside all projections. You survive conditions that disable most known species. But I'm not data. I'm a person. Yes. But you have also become a reference. Isaac exhaled. That's a weird kind of compliment. There was no insult intended. They sat in silence again. After a while, Isaac shifted his weight, grimaced, and stood. His legs stiffened immediately. Still feels like rebar in there, he muttered. Nezhar adjusted the module. You should resume aquatic therapy. The resistance is less demanding on your joints. I hate the taste of the water. You do not ingest it. Some of it gets in. Nezhar paused. If it is a deterrent, we can alter its composition. Isaac waved him off. It's fine. I'll manage. They returned to the med bay without speaking. The corridor lights adjusted as they walked, fading slightly behind them. Inside, the chamber had been reorganized. The bench was gone, replaced by a narrow cot with a contour-sensing surface. The ceiling projector glowed faintly. Nezhar set the scanner on the table. You may resume sessions tomorrow. I have scheduled a full musculoskeletal reevaluation. Sounds thrilling. You will not be conscious for the first part. Oh, even better. Isaac sat on the edge of the cot. What happens after that? You will be transported to a long-term recovery facility. It is not near Sol 3. How far? 37 jumps. You will not be able to return for some time. Isaac ran a hand through his hair. But I will return. If your progression continues, yes. Isaac lay back slowly. The cot adjusted beneath him, reshaping to his frame. The light dimmed further. Is there anyone else like me? He asked. Nezhar turned to face him. No other humans out here. None alive in our custody. Figures. He closed his eyes. So I'm the first one to crash into your orbit and walk away. Yes. Isaac smiled faintly. Put that in your archives. There was a pause. Then Nezhar said, it already is. The next cycle began with a chemical sedative administered through a capillary patch. Isaac faded quickly, the walls seeming to fold inward as his body relaxed. The reevaluation lasted over 4 hours. When he awoke, his leg was encased in a new type of braceliter, segmented, responsive. It adjusted pressure based on posture and movement. Nezhar stood beside the bed, holding a data slate. The results are encouraging. Your bone structure has stabilized. The stress points are within tolerable ranges. Isaac flexed his knee slowly. Doesn't feel like it's trying to snap anymore. You will require assisted movement for another 12 cycles. But after that, autonomous locomotion is probable. I'll take it. Nezhar tapped the slate again. Your neural response to pain has also shifted. The threshold has increased. That's not surprising. It is significant. You adapted without suppression. Isaac sat up. So I'm tougher than I was. More conditioned. I'll still call it tougher. By the end of the next week, Isaac walked unaided through most of the facility. The limp remained, but it no longer hindered him. The new brace stayed on only during sleep. The aquatic therapy continued, though he still refused to admit he liked it. On the final day before transfer, he stood once more in the observation deck. Earth had rotated away, replaced by the dark curve of space and the faint glow of distant systems. Nezhar joined him quietly. Transport will arrive in 2 hours. Isaac nodded. I figured. You will not see Sol 3 again for some time. I know. Nezhar folded his hands. You have exceeded expectations. Isaac looked at him. That sounds almost affectionate. It is a designation of respect. I'll take that too. The silence stretched for a while, but it was different now, not heavy, not clinical. Just shared. Isaac turned from the window. Thanks for keeping me alive. Nezhar inclined his head. You did most of the work. Yeah, Isaac said, stepping toward the door. But it helped to be seen. He left without looking back.